Being out in the wild, I think, is just a way to simplify your life. It's a great way, especially with family, to bond with your family, get away from all the everyday hectic things that are going on, and a way to really reconnect with the earth around you and discover new things.
We're in the middle of a booming city. In 5 minutes, you can be in the peaceful, natural, outside world. Walking along the boardwalk off Robinson Drive, it's there's a peace that you feel. And in the wintertime, it's the snow on the birches. In the summertime, it's the wild flowers. There's a creek running through.
It's played a really important role in our family life.
An easy place to get out and enjoy the outdoors. And I can skate all winter long outdoors. I can go skiing whenever I want.
I grew up in the valley and in Admer, and I spent a lot of time being outside and running wild in the backwoods. So for me, to get the kids out, to be out in nature with the kids, to do tactile, concrete things where we're touching and learning and going out to find treasures, and there's nothing better than to teach them life skills of being outside.
Since the birth of our son, Tom, so 4 years ago, we've had the pleasure of watching him grow up in a very natural environment. But just watching the child and the smile on Tom's face when he's covered in mud, you see that he's having a lot of fun.
But the imagination, to me, is the largest landscape that exists. It's not something you can necessarily touch or experience. But a green space like that, or a park, anywhere in your backyard, you can climb up into the slag hills if you wanted to, but something like that gives you a blank slate to create upon. And that was the most important part of my childhood, and for better or for worse, that's how I got to where I am today, is from having just free playtime in a space that was my own.
I love the lakes.
We do a lot of swimming, fishing, a lot of catch and release fishing.
Both, when the lakes are frozen and when the lakes are and in the summertime, we've enjoyed paddling, and we throw the canoe on the roof of the car and head over to the Lake Laurentian Conservation Area. It's a great little lake to go paddling in.
So the one thing that we do teach kids is that everything that you do in the watershed or close to the water, be it in your own backyard or be it where you're standing in your schoolyard, it affects a waterway or a lake.
Lake Ramsey, or Ramsey Lake, is an awesome lake just to head down. It's very accessible from our house. You can just, 10-minute walk, and in the wintertime, we've enjoyed kick sledding on the lake, and the skating path is obviously one of the biggest attractions, and really enjoyed by a lot of people in Sudbury, so we're so lucky, definitely, to have that waterfront.
When our family got our first bike, we all shared it. It's just something that I took to and loved and continue to love. It's a great feeling of freedom. It's a great way to get from point A to point B.
Taking a bike as an option to transit or to having a car, it's a different lifestyle, and it's a lifestyle that Sudbury is starting to attract.
Driving my car in costs a lot more money. It costs over $8 because I have to park. Taking the bus, I get to read a book. So I will choose a bus over a car for that reason.
As a granny, we're very concerned about our children and our grandchildren too. We want them to be active and have a healthy lifestyle.
And we need to start planning our cities to protect the health of our children too.
Our city fathers need to think about people rather than cars. Cars seem to come into the forefront all the time in any plans, but it's the people that use those roadways that we have to be thinking about.
And we want a transportation system that recognizes that not everyone can drive, so it can get people to their work or to school safely and efficiently.
So many of my neighbors cycle because they have to, they don't own cars, and providing good bike lanes would help them.
Well, I think we're all going to use transit at some point in our lives, and you want to make sure it's there for you when you do need it.
Better public transit, more reliable service, and a service that comes more often and goes more places.
In general, walkable streets are great for small business. You see studies in cities across the country and around the world. And the more walkable, the more bikeable those cities are, the stronger small businesses.
I believe that a policy needs to be put in place that would make it absolutely necessary for infrastructure services at the city to put in bike lanes automatically on busy roads.
I'd like the city to, one, develop a complete street policy. So every time there's a new road or there's a road reconstruction, we look at creating a road that's developed for all users of all abilities and all transportation modes, so that an 8-year-old or an 80-year-old can walk down a certain section of a road and not be afraid for their lives.
You look at Thunder Bay and they've invested in a lot of active infrastructure, and people are using it. The numbers are changing. Northern Ontario is no different. If you make a place where people feel comfortable and people want to be and people want to walk and people want to cycle, people will use it.
And there's something so grounding about first putting your hands in the earth and growing things yourself and being able to feed yourself or feed your family.
From a young age, I always had dreams of living on a farm. My farm is Rowan Tree Farms, so the vegetables that we grow, we follow the organic principles. Our animals are all raised free-range outdoors, and we feed certified GMO-free grains to all of our livestock.
It's really fun to see how gardening connects people. It brings together all walks of life.
I guess the main practices that we follow on our farm to try and be as sustainable as we can, and I think there's just a lot of, we're always trying to keep that in mind, I guess, when we're making decisions. I think we definitely need more farmers in Northern Ontario. I think there's a big demand for locally grown foods that's not being currently met.
We have really great community gardens. It's a great initiative that allows people to go plant and have their own garden, and also there's a lot of different, from novice gardeners to old timers that have been gardening forever, so it's a really great place to share information or to gain experience.
Choosing locally grown food allows you to know where your food came from and know how it was grown. Eat Local Sudbury is a cooperative local food grocery store. I think what Eat Local has really done is made it a lot easier for people to eat locally grown foods. I also think it allows you to support the farmers that are part of your community.
Everybody has a value in society. Everybody should be able to live and thrive where they are. I would like to see that. I would like to see people think in terms of the elimination of poverty, for instance, as well as the elimination of a lot of different discriminations.
In a just society, everyone would have access to the resources they need.
Rather than building new subdivisions and then spending lots of money having to build roads to them, if we built, denser housing and provided more parks.
I want to see more people out here helping. We need more people involved, more people caring.
When you've got a group behind you, it really gives you power. If you join and come together and fight against these things, you can make conditions better.
Caring for one another and caring for the land, I think if people can come together on those core issues.
We talk about eliminating pollution and trying to improve conditions so that our community can live in a healthy environment, so that we have healthy soil and healthy air and healthy water. We want that for everybody.
We're in the middle of the forest, and it's a wonderful experience to live there with the thick walls. Everything is nice and serene and quiet. Everything is nice and warm. We heat only with wood stove and just with the wood that falls on our property. So it's very comfortable, very, very natural.
We decided to live off grid and live off a large parcel of land in the woods. We ended up building our own home, our log home, and it was solar powered, and we tried to incorporate as many environmental technologies. Things we were looking for when we moved into town was being close to a green space.
Well, there's tons of great things about our neighborhood. We have the creek, we have trails. I have a relationship with my neighbors. I have a neighbor across the street who bakes goods and brings them, kids next door who play. My neighbor on the other side brings materials and helps us build little cabins for the kids. We have a great community of great people making things happen and making those connections in the community. It's beautiful. We're really lucky that we have that sort of nature around us.
If I want to go out for dinner and a couple glasses of wine, I don't have to worry. I can walk home. I've got access to some of the best coffee shops in the city within a few blocks of where I work. It's a different lifestyle, and it's a lifestyle that Sudbury is starting to attract.
I want to see some block parties. I want people to close up the streets and neighbors to come out. I want to see more gardens in people's backyards, front yards. I want to see flowers. I want to see more trees being planted. I want to see a suspension bridge going across Dead Man's Canyon. I want fun things for the community. I want things that allow people to come out and work with each other more, or just engage with each other more, yeah. But our community is pretty special.